As exciting as the Frasier Reboot Season 2 has some exciting original cast updates, they confirm that Kelsey Grammer's original plan for the revival failed. Grammer's role in the Paramount Plus show goes beyond his on-screen role. Besides reprising his iconic role as Frasier Crane, he was also instrumental in getting the show off the ground. Inspired by the success of the original Roseanne revival, he started tinkering about how to bring the beloved snooty therapist back on the screen. He achieved that with the 10-episode Frasier Reboot Season 1, and now he and his team are working on the follow-up. With Martin Crane's return ruled out due to John Mahoney's death, David Hyde Pierce was invited to return as Niles Crane. However, he turned down the opportunity. Ultimately, Grammer, with co-creators Chris Harris and Joe Cristalli, decided to bring Frasier back to Boston. Surrounded by a new ensemble, his main priority was to reconnect with his grown-up son, Freddie, which he achieved in the Frasier Reboot Season 1 finale. The way its sophomore year is shaping up, however, confirms that Grammer's original vision for the revival didn't work. Kelsey Grammer didn't want to do a repeat of the Seattle show in the Frasier revival. The Frasier revival is supposed to be Frasier's final act. Frasier in his classroom in Frasier Reboot Episode 8. As a major creative force behind the series, Grammer has been heavily involved in crafting Frasier's final act in Boston. This makes sense, considering that no one knows the character better than he does. Despite his initial attempt to bring back Niles and Jane leaves Daphne, he has been clear about not wanting to do a repeat of what they did with the Seattle show. He recognized that leaning far too much on nostalgia doesn't do revivals good. On the heels of the show's renewal from Paramount Plus, Grammer doubled down on this sentiment for the Frasier Reboot Season 2, saying, "For context, the original Frasier show was both a critical and commercial success for NBC. It won a whopping 37 Primetime Emmy Awards, which was a record for a scripted show at that time. Despite this, getting the reboot off the ground wasn't easy. This may have even been a factor in the skepticism to revisit the comedy." While comparisons are inevitable, Grammer realized that just repeating what he did in the Seattle show would be detrimental to the revival's success. So, the Frasier Reboot Season 1 limited references to the past and primarily focused on the present. Frasier Reboot Season 2 brings in so many original characters. After Roz's cameo, more Frasier legacy characters are appearing in Season 2. This will change in the Frasier Reboot Season 2 as it finally taps into the legacy of its parent series, with its most exciting updates coming from casting. Several guest stars will be coming, including some familiar faces from Frasier's time in Seattle. After her appearance in the Season 1 finale, Peri Gilpin is confirmed to return as Roz as a recurring guest star. Meanwhile, Dan Butler and Edward Hibbert will also reprise their roles as Bulldog Briscoe and Gil Chesterton. Most recently, it was announced that Harriet Sansom Harris will play Bebe Glazer will appear too. All of these fan-favorite characters returning for the Frasier reboot are great. Roz's reunion with Frasier in the Christmas-themed Frasier Reboot Season 1 finale was arguably one of the highlights of the whole show thus far. Chemistry cannot be faked, and that was fully displayed in every interaction that Gilpin and Grammer had in the revival. Given what was established in the original project, it's safe to say that this would also be the case with Bulldog, Gil, and Bebe. That said, it's curious how the Frasier Reboot Season 2 will handle their appearances, considering its limited episode count.